have a really, really special guest here. This is Sophia. Thank you. Hearts already. This is Sophia Chang coming to you live from Manhattan on my World Tour 2015. And I have a super, super special guest. You get 2 relationship coaches for the Periscope of 1. Hi, Terry, coming in for the second scope of the day. Thank you. Introduce yourself, my lovely.
My name is Trenia Parham, lovetrenia.com. I'm a love and relationship coach. Been doing that for about 6 years. And I'm excited to talk to Sophia today, see what we're going to get into about love.
Hey, Melissa. So glad you could join us. Alrighty. So I was dying to get, hi Andrew, I was dying to do this duoscope because I saw a post that you wrote on Facebook. I mean, we're Facebook friends. It's not like I just stalked her and like found her in New York City. It was like, hey, you know, we actually know each other.
Hi.
Yeah,
look at all the
hearts.
love.
We love you
Yay,
too.
We love hearts.
And you wrote this super cool post where you were just talking about like, you know, and this is statistically shown that women are the biggest consumers of self-help and all of, so thank you, Melly, of self-help, and I'm not sure, I can't, you know, I'm paraphrasing awfully, you can correct me on how you said it, but that they were, you know, we are the mass consumers of personal development, and we're really leaps and bounds just growing and developing ourselves. Where are the men?
Right. And so from what I know, I mean, about 95% of, let's just focus on the relationship books. You know, like 95% of the relationship books are written for women.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, everyone's doling out all this advice for women, but who's giving advice to men? Nobody. You know, it's like men are giving advice to themselves.
Right. No, and they are. And there's a few that are targeting men, but not in comparison if you look across the board.
I mean, it's minuscule.
Very.
You know, when you think about, you know, all of the self-help material out there, again, specifically as it pertains to relationships, most of it's for women.
And economically, there's a reason why they do that, because we're the ones spending the money on that.
Yeah, well, I think because the way that women typically think about relationships is around, like, there's something wrong with me. I'm broken. I want to fix something. I don't have this man yet. And I'm trying to figure out what it is. So I'm going to go out and buy all these books, listen to all these people to try to figure it out.
Yes. And so she wrote that, and she was just like, she was like, look, I'm not, you know, trying to complain or be negative, but I'm just wondering what's going on with that. And that really hit home for me, because, and I thought about it for like an hour. I was like, oh, I got to do a response scope to this, but I was like, even better, let's get her on and let's talk about this together. So here we are. And, you know, basically it comes down to this. We cannot change people. We cannot control people's behavior. We can't make men do things. I know certain wives will tell you they try, but in the end, you know, we cannot force anybody to do anything. They got to do it on their own. So what can we do? What recourse do women have? What can we do that we actually, yes, hearts for that. What do we actually have control over? And that's nothing but ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. And I think I encourage women all the time to ask yourself the question, you know, what happens if this man never shows up? Now, it doesn't mean that he won't. It just means, can you take the opportunity to just sit with that? Because I think a lot of times when you think about the fact that, you know, maybe you didn't get married by a certain age, you didn't have kids by a certain age, and you're still waiting for the kind of guy that you want to settle down with, you're still waiting for him to show up. It's like, you know, there might be some grief there that you have to deal with. You know, especially if you're getting into your mid to late 30s and it's like, you know, it hasn't happened yet. You keep looking at your clock. It's like, how about now? How about now? When's he coming? He's not here yet. You know, and you have all this anxiety and trepidation about this relationship. And so part of it is, you know, you just have to sit with, what if this doesn't happen for me? And not just sitting with that question, but it's like then dealing with the feelings that come up as a result of that. And like I say, I see it over and over with clients, you know, in the past. It's like, you know, sometimes it's grief.
Oh, that's a very, very good point. Sometimes you can overthink something, overwork something.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you focus on the problem all day long.
Absolutely. I think it becomes, when you overdevelop or you spend too much time in personal development, it's like, you know, the way there's nothing better to develop you than actually being in relationship. Because here's the thing about relationships is that, you know, especially as single women, overanalyzing exactly. It's like, you know, we think we've got it figured out. You know what I mean? It's like,
you think you can brain yourself out of it.
Exactly. Or, it's like you go to your yoga classes and you're feeling good.
I just
you're reading all these books, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have got it together. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so ready. And then here comes this man who was totally not anything, like, he hasn't read the book. You know what I'm saying? He didn't read the book. And so all of a sudden, this guy is brushing up against you. It's like you're brushing up against a real human being. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like he doesn't care about any of that. And then you're like, you're not doing what they said you were supposed to do.
Was like, look, I don't practice that form of Zen. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And I think too, as women though, we have to have respect for the fact that men often develop in different ways.
Yes, yeah.
So just because we're going to our meditation cushion or whatever it is, or the way that we develop ourselves, or we're reading these books, it doesn't mean that men aren't doing it. Although many of them aren't, but we could talk about that. But for the ones who are, it may be different. I think for men, a lot of it's more in the body. So some of them are even more embodied. They don't call it that.
No, they would never call it that.
But that's a lot of what it is.
They're not like, I'm going to go get embodied right now. They wouldn't say that.
Yeah, they're totally not going to call it that. But I feel like a lot of men who are tuned in, they are connected. They just do it in different ways.
Absolutely. And why is it so important for you to be turning within and facing that grief of, this guy was not the one? Because if you guys saw my last Periscope about love bombing, we see a guy, he seems so perfect. He says the right things. And then he pulls that disappearing act. And you've talked about ghosting.
Oh, yeah.
As well, right? This happens all across the board in every city, every city. So why is it so important? It's because it prevents that stuff from happening. You get more sure in what it is that you will put up with and what you won't put up with. And you're not going to be operating from this place of like, damn, I really need to get married right now. And that's what happens when you start compromising the things that are truly important to you. So,
and I think it just brings a sense of peace.
Yeah.
When you get on the other side of that frustration, anxiety, and disappointment that you feel, it's like there's something on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we don't get to the other side because we're so caught up. I was talking about this actually last night on Periscope about how we feel like we have to be happy all the time. We don't tune into the darker emotions. And I won't even call them negative emotions. I'll call them darker emotions, because we feel like, oh my gosh, they're going to take us off course. They're going to take us out of our happy place. But the truth is, if you pay attention, they're there to teach you something.
So Valerie and she's a Kundalini yoga teacher, and I just did a Periscope a couple hours about that, owning anger. Yes.
So much value in the shadow. Yes.
We are
absolutely.
all about it. So
absolutely.
Go check out that replay that me and Valerie just did about the shadow, about owning that anger. There is something to be learned from it. If you keep running away from it, it will run after you.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting that you were just talking about that.
Funny.
Yeah,
I think a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Right now. There's an eclipse happening. A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
If you guys are feeling it, if things are crazy right now, and if your relationships are like totally out of whack, like, don't worry. There's something going on that you gotta learn from that.
Yeah, and I think just tuning into that, and again, being willing to go through it.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing.
Willing to go through it, and that's the problem. So here's the thing. How do we get a man to step up? I get asked that question. How do I get my husband to step up? How do I get him to take more? You can't make somebody else do something.
But what I think you can do is just have boundaries.
Yes.
You have boundaries about what you're going to put up with. And like Sophia said, I mean, you can't make a man do anything.
You act like you can, or we think, but it's like the culture jokes that we do, the whole happy wife, happy life, but that's still them making the choice to do it or not to do it.
And also too, where boundaries, I'm telling you, I think the amount of stress that it puts on a woman to have to do all of that manipulating and controlling and contorting to get a man to do what you want, I mean, it takes too much out of you. And this is why the women are tired. The women are tired. They're tired of trying to take care of themselves. You got to do all the self-help. You got to take care of yourself. You got to love yourself. You got to, race.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly. And then on top of, you have to be his emotional caretaker too. It's like, it's not working.
Yeah. Turn it inwards. All that energy you are putting out there, trying to find the right man, get him to do this, get him to commit. God, you see all the 7 steps to commit that every dating coach is like, do this.
I'm so over. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work. Well, and here's the thing, it may work in the short term, but it's like, what do you lose as a result of that? So you get this guy, but it's like, what happens when the pheromones wear off? What happens, you know, when the Spanx come off, you know, 5 years later? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what happens? And it's like all these things that you did to get this person, and it's 5 years into this relationship, he's still expecting you to be that same person, and then you start revealing yourself. You're not doing those same things because it's not sustainable. And then you're in divorce court.
What we're talking about here is like a mass revolution. It's the long game. I know it's not pretty. It's not sexy. It's not one of those get a man in 1 year or even, 30, whatever it is that all these coaches are selling. It's not fun and quick like that. But growth isn't always fun and quick like that. What we're talking about here is a serious delving into who you are, but it's real. Exactly.
Absolutely.
We were talking about what's real and lasting.
Right. And Sophia, I'll tell you another thing is that, a lot of men haven't caught up to where women are in a lot of ways. But this is a real unfortunate truth that a lot of people don't like to hear. But a lot of women are going to get lost. It's like while this pendulum is swinging the other way, there are a lot of people that are just going to get lost. Yeah. Meaning there's going to be a lot of women who aren't going to get married. Yes. There's going to be a lot of that because men and women are still trying to figure it out. Yeah. We're not on the same page. Women, and a lot of this has been affected by women in the workforce.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But when you think about it, women are relatively new in the workforce. Yes, you're thinking the past 50 years or so, like it's relatively new, except for some cultures where, we've always been working. But that's another topic.
So we know a lot about that.
We know what it is about work, But officially, women haven't been in the workforce that long. And so, whereas all this time, these past 50 years or so, women have been, we've been developing and moving forward. And the men have just been creeping along sort of inch by inch by inch. And we're not in the same place.
There's been a big breakdown in the gender roles. And as much as we say there's been a lot of advances, it's also left quite a mess because a lot of people are so confused. They don't know what women want, what men want, and what am I supposed to be? How come this feels right, doesn't feel right? You told me I'm supposed to be strong, yet this, yet what? And so we're not saying that, any of this is good or bad. We're just saying just be aware there's a big breakdown and people are confused, and that's what's happening right now. Absolutely.
And again, like you're right, I think the men are confused too.
Yeah.
And people are trying to figure it out. Yeah. And it's just, we have to work it out, and some of it I think is just time, and we don't know what the fallout is going to be. We don't know what the results are going to be of all of this yet.
So the question is, for the women who may get lost and end up without marriage, what are our options? Good question.
Oh man.
No, I know.
Okay, so I think it's the options are what can you do? How can you create relationship that doesn't necessarily mean marriage? I mean, there's adoption. If you want to have kids, I mean, you can have a kid. We know that's possible. So whether that means, getting family to support you, whether that means, in vitro or whatever it is, I feel like there's a lot of options. I also think it's an opportunity for women to talk about different forms of family, different forms of partnership.
Exactly.
So it might not be marriage, but is it okay if he's got his own place and you've got yours, and then that's what you're doing? I mean, listen, a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it's like maybe you take on a lover for a while. I mean, they're all different kind of configurations. Now, I'm not saying to give up. It's like if you want marriage and that's what you want for, you can certainly reach for that. I'm not, these are, you don't have to necessarily settle for the contingency plan, but, like I said, a lot of women,
but rather a contingency plan that you are happy with and feel good about than to be compromising right and left, up and down, contorting yourself just to get that thing.
Yeah, and here's the thing about the compromising is you don't do it because it ultimately just doesn't make you feel good.
You already know what feels right inside. It's just that you're not listening. A lot of people just don't listen. We don't want to know. We know it's not working. We know it's not right. It doesn't feel good, but we're afraid. We're afraid of something different. And unfortunately, because of the breakdown of what's happened, we need to actually create something different. There's going to be a lot of creating. We cannot fall back anymore on things that are just not working, not feeling good.
Absolutely. So again, I think it depends, for the women who may be falling through the cracks, I think you have to look at other models of relationship, other ways of getting those needs met. And it may be cobbling together different people. I mean, maybe one man is a companion, maybe another man is a lover. Maybe, I mean, I'm being honest.
I'm sorry, what is it? Was it the Eddie Murphy one? The Mandingo, plus you need, like, these are the 5 different men you need in your life. You need, you need the rich man, you need the...
Some women, it's like, you need a maintenance man.
Yeah.
I talked about that before on Periscope too. Like, you might need a maintenance man. I'm being totally honest here. You mean
the one that checks under the hood?
Yeah, he checks under the hood every so often. I mean,
the mailman, the milkman, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker.
I'm telling you. I mean, you have to have other ways of getting your needs met, because I'm not expecting you to be a nun for the rest of your life.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm not expecting that at all. So, but I think those are some of the things that we have to get more comfortable talking about.
Yeah. And we're not saying you have to do it, but getting comfortable with at least having the dialogue, thinking about it, getting your mind to calm down. I have a mother and son on Periscope, right? I make history because I got a mother and son on.
Oh, cute.
He's all calm down, Mom.
That's cute.
You guys are adorable. So yeah, and we're right there with you, okay? We are like in your generation, we're experiencing the fallout too. He's stalking me. We're experiencing the fallout too, and it's a lot to come to terms with. We're not saying what we're asking you to do is easy. Like I said it earlier, we're asking for a massive revolution here to keep up with what's going on. It's not easy. It'll hurt to explore other possibilities.
Absolutely.
We don't have a choice, if you know.
Yeah, and I think, and like she said, we're going through it. We experience it, and I think you just have to be willing to be present for this conversation.
Yeah.
That's all. You don't need to make any decisions right now,
right.
But you have to be talking and thinking through this so that you can be a little bit more open to what the future might be for you.
Yes. Open-minded, day at a time, step at a time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just stay present. Stay present. What's going on? But again, don't compromise. You know what feels good. If something doesn't feel good, don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah. And again, it's because ultimately,
plans change.
Yeah, ultimately it's like, settling for this guy for something that you really don't want, it just, like I said, it just makes you feel bad.
Yeah.
And then you're going to start to regress, and then here we go with the low self-esteem and, all of that, because you're in a situation that's really robbing you of something that you really want. It's robbing you of who you really are.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel good.
And I know it's scary to walk away from something, but it's self-worth. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's scary to walk away from something, but it's even scarier to think of the fact that you may spend way too many years or the rest of your life feeling bad.
Yeah.
So rather that temporary, gutsy little thing, you can do it. We
Absolutely.
believe in you. We believe in you. And if you have trouble doing it, you come to us. Find us. I'm the Sophia Chang across all social media. How do we find you?
I'm Love Trenia, Trenia.
So thank you for joining. If you've got any more questions, drop them in here. You find us on Facebook. Find us anywhere. My website, sexlovestory.com.
And I'm lovetrenia.com.
So thanks so much. Sophia is the boss lady. Hashtag that.
Awesome.
Oh, wow. Yeah, thanks so much. So bottom line is, if it doesn't feel good, don't settle for it. Don't put up for it. Don't put up with it.
Absolutely.
It's true.
Thank you.
My voice is great and free. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yes. You are the bomb. Thank you so much for
Thanks
coming
for doing
on.
this. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh.
It's really fun.
Yeah, super fun.
Great.
We got big hearts for this.
Yay.
All right, guys. So we keep on pumping out Periscopes and videos. So make sure you give us a follow and ask us any questions anytime.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.